welcome to Medical Dialogues. I'm Dr. Bhumika. Let's look at today's top medical news. Consuming sugary drinks may significantly increase cardiovascular disease risk. Scientists studying the impact of sugar on the risk of cardiovascular disease have found that eating too much added sugar increases your risk of stroke or aneurysm, but eating a few treats is associated with a lower risk of cardiovascular diseases. Meanwhile, drinking sweetened beverages raise your risk of stroke, heart failure, and atrial fibrillation. The most striking finding from our study is the divergent relationship between different sources of added sugar and cardiovascular disease risk, said Suzanne Janzi, PhD candidate at Lund University and corresponding author of the article in Frontiers in Public Health. This surprising contrast highlights the importance of considering not just the amount of sugar consumed, but its source and context. New guidelines on diagnosis and management of premature ovarian insufficiency. New guidelines on the diagnosis and management of premature ovarian insufficiency developed by the Center for Research Excellence in Women's Health and Reproduction Life at Monash University and key international women's health organizations with an international team of experts including women with lived experiences. The guidelines were last updated in 2015 and the 2024 update of the Premature Ovarian Insufficiency Guidelines of the European Society of Human Reproduction and Embryology. The 2024 guidelines provide 145 recommendations on symptoms, diagnosis, causation, sequel, and treatment of premature ovarian insufficiency. The recommendations were developed using the best available evidence and graded according to the strength of that evidence. Topics to cover in the guidelines were informed by an international survey of women and healthcare professionals. New information is provided about the genetic causes of premature ovarian insufficiency, the impact of premature ovarian insufficiency on muscle health, use of anti-Mullerian hormone, non-hormonal therapies, lifestyle interventions, and complementary therapies. Chronic pain relief may be just a diet change away, researchers. A research from the University of South Australia shows that adopting a healthy diet can reduce the severity of chronic pain, presenting an easy and accessible way for sufferers to better manage their condition. Exploring associations between body fat, diet, and pain, researchers found that a greater consumption of foods within the Australian dietary guidelines was directly associated with lower levels of body pain, particularly among women. Importantly, these findings were independent of a person's weight, meaning that despite your body composition, a healthy diet can help reduce chronic pain. Globally, about 30% of the population suffers from chronic pain. Women have higher rates of chronic pain as do people who are overweight or obese. UniSA PhD researcher Sue Watts says the study shows how modifiable factors such as diet can help manage and relieve chronic pain. It's common knowledge that eating well is good for your health and well-being, but knowing that simple changes to your diet could offset chronic pain could be life-changing, Watts says. Heat waves are harming the young more than the elderly, study finds. Many recent studies assume that elderly people are at particular risk of dying from extreme heat as the planet warms. A new study of mortality in Mexico turns this assumption on its head. It shows that 75% of heat-related deaths are occurring among people under 35, a large percentage of them ages 18 to 35, or the very group that one might expect to be most resistant to heat. The analysis found that from 1998 to 2019, the country suffered about 3,300 heat-related deaths per year. Of these, nearly a third occurred in people ages 18 to 35, a figure far out of proportion with the numbers in that age bracket. Also highly vulnerable, children under 5, especially infants. Surprisingly, people 50 to 70 suffered the least amount of heat-related mortality. The researchers say several factors may be at work. Young adults are more likely to be engaged in outdoor labor including farming and construction and thus more exposed to dehydration and heat stroke. The same goes for indoor manufacturing in spaces that lack air conditioning. Young adults are also more likely to participate in strenuous outdoor sports, the researchers point out. Thank you for watching Medical Dialogues. Stay tuned for more such updates.
Never miss a medical update from Medical Dialogues. Like, subscribe, and press the bell icon.